She can't close my mouth anymore. Paola said, "Follow the story on the Pets in Love channel to learn more." The first time Paola saw her, she felt her heart break. There, on the roadside, was a cardboard box with a trembling little dog inside. The poor creature was thin as a whisper, her fur mangy and matted, her eyes wide with confusion. And most painfully, her mouth hung open, stuck in a permanent, sorrowful gape. Paola hesitated for only a second before reaching into the box. The smell was overwhelming, a blend of rot, infection, and utter neglect. She could barely hold back her tears. "You poor little thing," she whispered, scooping the trembling dog into her arms. She could feel every bone in her frail body, a painful reminder of the starvation and neglect she'd endured. As Paola placed her gently in the car, the dog's eyes seemed to flicker with a tiny glimmer of hope. They sped to the clinic, the weight of urgency pressing down on Paola's chest. She was sure the dog's jaw was broken. The way it hung open, unable to close, left her imagining the agony this little one must have felt. But in the examination room, the vet surprised her. "She doesn't actually have a jaw fracture," he said. Paola's eyes widened. The vet explained that the condition was likely caused by severe malnutrition and years of inadequate care. This poor little dog, abandoned in a box like garbage, had never known the comfort of proper food or love, but she had been left with maggots infesting her skin, her little body a testament to neglect and cruelty. "She doesn't need her jaw fixed," the vet added with a gentle smile. "She can eat perfectly fine as she is. Anything more would only be for appearance." Paola's heart swelled. She didn't care if this little one wasn't perfect in the world's eyes. To her, this dog was a beautiful soul who'd survived against the odds. Paola named her Cher, after a star who had once said, "I've always taken chances, and that's not gonna change." And little Cher, with her skeletal frame and fur full of knots, had certainly taken a chance on life. When Paola brought Cher home that first night, she could feel the little dog's uncertainty, her tiny body still trembling in her arms. "Welcome home, Cher," Paola whispered softly, setting her down gently on the living room floor. Cher stood there, looking around the strange new place with wide eyes, her matted fur and frail frame a painful reminder of the life she'd left behind. Paola kneeled beside her, stroking her carefully, and reached for a small bowl of warm food. The scent wafted up, and Cher's nose twitched. Her eyes flicked between the food and Paola, uncertain yet hungry. Paola stayed close, murmuring gentle words of encouragement as Cher slowly inched forward and took her first bite. The sight of her eating filled Paola with relief and joy. Cher was starting to trust. Next came bath time. Paola carried Cher to the bathroom, setting her down in a basin filled with warm water. As the water soaked through her tangled fur, Cher seemed to relax, her eyes softening, her tiny paws no longer clinging quite as tightly to the edge. Paola worked gently, washing away weeks of dirt and neglect, revealing Cher's soft brown coat and fragile little body underneath. With each stroke, Cher's nervousness seemed to melt away, and by the time she was bundled in a fluffy towel, she was looking a little less fearful. After drying her off, Paola brought out a tiny, cozy sweater she'd bought just for Cher. It was soft pink with little embroidered hearts, and as she slipped it over Cher's head, Paola couldn't help but smile. The sweater was a bit too big, but it added to Cher's charm, making her look even smaller and more delicate. Cher blinked up at Paola, tilting her head as if trying to make sense of the sudden warmth and kindness. With Cher settled in her lap, they moved to the couch, and Paola put on a light-hearted movie. Cher was still hesitant, her body tensing with every sound or sudden movement on screen. But Paola gently stroked her back, murmuring words of reassurance, and gradually, Cher began to relax. After a while, She rested her small, weary head on Paola's belly, giving in to a sense of comfort that she was still learning to trust. As they watched the movie, Paola could feel Cher's breathing slow, her little paws nestled into her side, her small frame finally letting go of its guarded tension. Cher's eyes grew heavier, and eventually she fell into a peaceful sleep, curled up as if she had always belonged there. Later, Paola carefully lifted Cher and carried her to her own bed, a soft, fleece-lined little nest right beside Paola's. She laid Cher down gently, watching as her tiny form curled up, her new sweater snug around her. For the first time, Cher was in a warm, safe place that was entirely her own. Paola whispered a good night and turned off the lights, leaving a small nightlight on nearby. Cher, with her eyes closed, her breathing soft and steady, looked like a different dog altogether, a little survivor who had finally found her way to a place of love. And there, in the quiet of the night, Cher slept deeply and peacefully. The transformation began with warm water and a gentle touch. The dirt and matted fur washed away, revealing a glimmer of a healthy coat beneath. Cher closed her eyes, relaxing into Paola's hands as if she had finally found a place of safety. Afterward, Paola wrapped her in a cozy towel, her little granny now looking softer, even a bit dignified. In the days that followed, Paola went out of her way to make Cher feel loved. She bought a soft bed, a few little sweaters to keep her warm, and the tastiest kibble. Slowly, Cher's ribs became less visible. Her coat filled out, and her energy began to return. Her mouth still wouldn't close, but her spirit certainly opened, filling the house with her quiet resilience and gentle gaze. Weeks later, Paola held up Cher for a new picture. Cher's fur had grown and thick and glossy, her eyes bright. Her open mouth, once a sad reminder of her past, had become part of her charm. Paola beamed with pride as she shared Cher's photo, declaring to the world, "Isn't she beautiful? I can't handle this much perfection." And Cher, who had been abandoned in a roadside box, now basked in the glow of love, her gentle soul wrapped in warmth and safety. Those who saw her might comment on her quirky jaw or her unconventional beauty, but Paola knew the truth. Cher's beauty was beyond comparison, and anyone who thought otherwise, well, Paola smiled to herself, they wouldn't go to heaven. For me, this story is a reminder of the resilience in animals and how, no matter what they've endured, they still have the capacity to trust again if given the chance. So, Cher's story also brings a sense of hope, showing that real transformation doesn't always need big gestures. Sometimes it's in the gentle moments, the soft voice, and the quiet presence of someone who truly cares. I wonder, would you open your heart to an animal like Cher? Would you be willing to give them the chance to feel loved, even after all they've been through? Because seeing a soul finally feel safe and cherished is a reward unlike any other. If you find this story interesting, please give it a big thumbs up and share it with others. Finally, don't forget to turn on our bell and subscribe to our channel Pets in Love so you don't miss any of our new videos. Thank you for your support and see you next time.